It is a bit quicker than Ford says. Yeah, I know. So, oh, that's is that a limiter? That's where the exhaust gases are coming from. So they go down instead of out. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today we are checking out the all-new Ford Explorer, the 6th generation, and it has made its way back to Europe for the first time in, well, 20 years, something like that. So it is the only version we can get in the Netherlands. It is the Explorer plug-in hybrid, and today I'm going to show you around it, which is quite a walk because it is massive, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to receive updates when we upload a new video, and check us out on Instagram if you like, at AutoTopNL. So, as you might have noticed, we recently changed our camera settings. So we are now working with a regular linear lens for the walk around, and then when we get into the car, we're going to switch to a wide angle. But that means that I don't really know how big this car is on this lens. So I hope it is the entire car in frame now, because it is around 5 meters long, over 2 meters wide. And I mean, yeah, you do get a lot of car for your money. I'm just going to walk around it once. I don't know why. Normally I don't do that, but now I decided to do that because we are going to start at the front as usual, of course. Explorer written on the hood. We've got the black grille because this is an ST line. As I said, the only version we can get in the Netherlands is the plug-in hybrid and an ST line. So you can't actually choose anything apart from the color. In the Netherlands, everything is on here. So it's 78,000 euros, and you can choose the color, and that is it. You do have some accessories, but you have all the options, including the ST line, which means you also get the black trim down there. I do really love this front end. I think the front of this car, it's quite imposing. You've got that hood with those lines in there to make it even more, well, it's just a brute to look at. I really like it. It's a good look. The wheels, well, you can choose these either. I think these are 20-inch. The suspension is changed on the ST line as well. So this is sort of the European spec suspension, which means that it is actually quite firm, relatively quite firm, and more suitable for European roads and stuff like that. The size of it, well, I'll open this door right here, and you can see that, well, we've got a nice rear bench, which is of course adjustable, and if you want to go into the rear, you can do so like that. And it is actually not bad. Headspace is really good for a third row. You've got cup holders here, and you actually have a decent amount of leg room. So if you're a relatively normal sized adult, you could sit here for shorter periods of time. But the second row is actually quite spacious because this seat is quite far back, but this is still pretty doable, I would say. We've got a panoramic roof, also standard in the Netherlands. And when we go to the rear, we have the little seats here, which you can operate electrically, fold down, which gives you quite a big boot, I would say. I think it was around 1100 liters, and if you go for a flat folded down second row, you have over 2270 liters of, well, space, which is massive. That's really big. So yeah. And I do like the fact that it's electrically operated. That does make it feel a little bit more luxurious, because I think that's the main thing about this car. Charging cables in there. The main thing about this car is that it's a lot of value for money. and you don't see that often anymore. The rear, Martijn told me to check out the tailpipes because he thought they were fake, and well, they're not fake, but there's nothing here, as you can see. So that's where the exhaust gases are coming from. So they go down instead of out. But value for money, I mean, look at the thing, it is massive. And if you compare it to a BMW X5 or an Audi Q7 or a Mercedes-Benz GLE, I mean, yeah, you would be at 110,000 euros before you start ticking any boxes for optional extras. So price-wise, value for money-wise, this is a really good car for Europe. And that is also why Ford decided to build this plug-in hybrid version, especially for Europe, because European people are into SUVs nowadays as well. And with this engine, it works here. Well, it works pretty well actually here. So I do think it's cool that we get this car in Europe now, because we used to miss out on a lot of these, and now we get it as well. So how does it work? Like that, and then we are going to open that and check out the engine, because we have a 3-liter V6 bi-turbo here with around 350 horsepower, I believe. And it is a really nice engine. And then we have an electric motor to support this engine, which brings the total to 457 horsepower and 825 newton meters of torque, which is quite a lot. 0 to 100, 6 seconds, but I've already been able to do 5.46 in my first try, so it is a bit quicker than Ford says or thinks. And the top speed is 230 kilometers an hour, which I also got earlier. So performance-wise, it is actually performing pretty well. The electric stuff, well, we can take a look here. We have driving modes and EV modes. That's basically the most important thing. As you can see, we have a 45% charged battery, which gives us a range of 27 kilometers. Now, Ford says you should be able to do 42. Well, usually it's a little bit less than the manufacturer claims, but I've read on several occasions that you are actually getting close to 40. So that's not bad. The EV modes here give you an option for normal operation, all electric driving. EV later means that you save the charge you have, and EV charge charges the battery. I did notice earlier that I didn't have time to charge this because we had too many cars. So I had it in charge mode and normal mode for the driving mode, and that did absolutely nothing. But when you put it in sport mode, it charges a lot faster. So that's a little tip if you decide to buy this car. That did work a lot better. So what is this car for? Basically, if you have like a charging port at your home and you would charge this car every day and your commute is not too far and you're able to charge at work as well, you would get some insane mileage with this car, because I did like almost 3 liters per 100 kilometers. But that is seriously impressive for a car that is this heavy and this big, and I do get why Ford decided to offer this for Europe. Because if you are, if you get used to how it works and how you can use it the best way, I think you're going to get some pretty insane fuel consumption with this. If you don't have any battery, so if your battery is empty, it is around 10 liters per 100 kilometers. So that's like a regular car. But, as soon as you have some battery, that number is going to drop real quick. Okay, so let's take it for a little drive. What do you guys want to see? Well, we've got the power flow here, and why don't we go for EV, auto EV. So automatic. The engine shuts off and you guys can see here which part is operating and powering which wheel. So the platform is the all-new platform, which is rear wheel drive, and if you lose grip it will power the front wheels. So it's basically a rear wheel drive platform. It's an all-new platform by Ford. And now you can see that we're driving fully electric. We're not going to do that for too long because it will go down quickly and we need some power for the Autobahn. But you can see electric driving, 93 kilometers an hour, and it's really nice. The thing is, when you put it in auto EV like we have now, when you give it a little bit more throttle, the petrol engine turns on and you get some regular gasoline. Yeah, I know. You get some regular gasoline power as well. The brakes, I did have to get used to those. I am used to them now. I didn't think about it anymore, but when I picked up this car, my head was constantly hitting the windscreen because the brakes are really bitey because of the regenerative braking, of course. Because as you can see, it is charging now when I release the throttle, and when I brake, it charges even more. Okay, driving wise, handling wise, let's go for sport mode. We have a lot of driving modes. Sport. So now the idea is that the electric stuff helps the performance of the engine, which works really well because you don't really notice it. As long as everything is pointing in the same direction, like as long as it knows what it has to do, it's a really good system. It's a really good package. But when you drive around town, sometimes it has a little bit of, you know, difficulty to decide what it wants to do, and sometimes you have like 3 gear shifts in a really short period of time, and you can feel the engine turning on, turning off, turning on again. That's a bit weird sometimes, but as long as you put it like in EV mode, charge mode, sport mode, it's absolutely fine because it knows what to do, if you know what I mean. Handling wise, comfort wise, it is really good. I would say this is actually pretty spot on. It still handles nicely. You don't feel like you're driving a massive car. Turn in is pretty good. It stays level. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good setup, and I was not really expecting that. I was expecting it to be a little bit more American and a little bit more floaty. So, do we have any sound from those partially fake exhaust pipes? Second gear. A little bit. Not too much. I do know that in the rest of Europe you can get some other versions as well. So there is a 4-cylinder, 2.3 liter EcoBoost with 300 horsepower. There is a Platinum, if I'm not mistaken, with 365 horsepower from this 3 liter V6 bi-turbo. And there is a full-on ST with this engine, the 3 liter V6 bi-turbo with 400 horsepower. That's in the US as well. I'm not sure how it all pans out in which country. I mean, I don't know if you get all of them everywhere, but we only get this one, which I don't really I think it's a pretty good idea. Ford just said, well, in the Netherlands they just said, well, this is the one that everyone's going to buy. No options, just put everything on there, and it's not an expensive car. Honestly, it's, relatively speaking, it is a bargain basically. So we also have like massaging seats, we have cooled or ventilated seats, and they work really well. Heated seats, heated steering wheel. We have all the safety systems you could ever wish for. This iPad, of course, with all your information in there. Heated seats in the rear, that panoramic roof. So yeah, I have to say I'm quite a fan of this car because I do love a bargain. I'm Dutch, you know, that's what we're known for apparently. So I guess for the first time in my life I feel like that is justified that people always say that about Dutch people, because I like the utilitarian feel you get from this car. It's like, it's a no-nonsense car, and I like that. So, oh, that's is that a limiter? Yeah, that's a limiter, 239. My foot is all the way to the floor. So that should be around 234, 35 kilometers GPS speed. So that's really good, and it gets there really quickly and easily, and it's pretty quiet in here. As I said, it's comfy. You can see though that the electric range has gone from 19 to 11 or 18 to 11 pretty quickly. So when you drive it in a more aggressive manner, your range will go away pretty quickly. But when you are a little bit more careful with your right foot, you can actually drive some electric distance with this car. But now as well, you know, at this speed, it's pretty comfy actually. And you know, I've got my heated seat on, my heated steering wheel. It's cold outside. We've got the 1000 watt B&O Play system in here, which I'm not a big fan of, but at least it's better than in the Ford Focus. But this is a really nice family car, and I have never driven an Explorer before, but I can't imagine they have been anywhere near as good as this, because I would honestly say that this is a viable competitor to a BMW X3 or X5, depending on engine, options, price. And again, it's a bargain. It's a really good package, because I can't imagine any car, I can't think of any car that comes close to this space, this practicality, this amount of power. I mean, 457 horsepower, 825 newton meters. Nothing really comes close to this for this price. So I guess Ford have done a good job on that, because I do quite like that. You can also tow 2.5 tons with this car, which is quite a lot for a hybrid. I also really like the practicality of US cars. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but they are really good at thinking about how their customers are going to use the cars and what would be practical to have. So the biggest example I just read is that the new F-150 pickup truck is going to have seats that fold down completely and have an extra support in your back and shoulders, so you can sleep on them, because apparently a lot of their customers go camping, and then when you get to the campsite at night, you don't want to deal with the tent and stuff, so they sleep in their car on a regular basis. And Ford thought, well, how can we make these seats more comfortable so they can function as a bed? Well, stuff like that I really like. I really like that mindset. And in European cars, in like an X7 BMW, you wouldn't find a power outlet, and you've got one here, 230 volts, so you can just plug something in there. You have massive amounts of storage space down there as well. A wireless charger here. I mean, they are really well thought out, and I like the fact that we now also get these US cars, which are a lot better than a few years ago. So I would say that for a change, this is some serious consumer advice. And that's it for this review. We are back at the border, so fun is over. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button right there. You can also check out this video or go check out this playlist. See you at the next one. Bye.